This fight with Sissi Salif is typical of recent Williams efforts. A good win, but in the Thunderbox series. Overlooked because not everyone takes it seriously. Not like tonight.
Well, the Thunderbox series, it was a great series. It was a good opportunity, and the fights were good fights. I had a good time, and there were a lot of tough fights, but this fight tonight, in no way I could compare to Thunderbox. It's for a championship, and I'm fighting an experienced fighter, so I really can't compare the two.
The fighter he speaks of is Obed Sullivan, but Williams feels his opponent is headed down, and he's on the way up to grab a title and some limelight. Obed Sullivan has basked in some of that light, but not enough for his liking. From the beginning of a star-crossed career, he's taken on some of the very best, from Tua, Klitschko, and Grant to the current heavyweight champion Hasim Rahman, against whom he fared far better than Lennox Lewis, not only going the distance, but losing a close majority decision.
What happened in the fight, I just didn't show up. Started off the fight well, first 3 rounds, was doing good, then all of a sudden I went into a fog for about 5 or 6 rounds. That was the fight, you know, that was pretty much was the way that I lost that fight.
His last bout against Augustine Corpus was his 4th since losing badly to David Tua, and it proved to be a convincing victory for Sullivan, who once again showed flashes of his early promise. Sullivan is undefeated in those 4 bouts, including a draw with contender Larry Donald. He still has faith in himself and figures a win tonight might put him back in the picture of a suddenly wide-open heavyweight division. So Obed Sullivan, perhaps still trying to live down that defeat to Tua, wants to come up with a series of victories that shows that he belongs in the heavyweight picture once again. And really, that picture can start to include him if he can come up with an impressive victory here this evening over Tank Williams. So we've got 12 rounds coming up for the NABF interim heavyweight title. Tank Williams, Obed Sullivan. Stay with us. It's next.
Sean fished the sea from dusk till dawn. Leaving his...
In a resort, we're ready for action. NABF interim heavyweight championship fight. Sherman Tank Williams taking on Obed Sullivan. Well, this should be an interesting bout here this evening as we take a look at Tank Williams getting ready for a big opportunity, Sean.
Big opportunity. He has been fighting some pretty good level competition in his career. 13 KOs in the first 3. He likes to get with it, but he doesn't have a lot of stamina. He says about his opponent, he says Obed Sullivan tires after the 6th round, so he's going to try to take him into some of the late rounds. For Obed Sullivan, he scoffs at that notion. Sullivan has been in there with the likes of people like David Tua, Vitaly Klitschko, Everett Bigfoot Martin, Derek Jefferson, Michael Grant, and this is a man in Obed Sullivan who really has his goals figured out. At 33 years old, he has to get started. He's ready to ascend to the top of the division.
All right, let's take a look, Sean, at how these two fighters line up against each other. The tail of the tape between these two shows that Sullivan has a 3-inch height advantage, a 5-inch reach advantage. Those 5 years in age probably to the advantage of Sherman Tank Williams. So we're ready to go. The fighters are in the ring. Jimmy Lennon Jr. is in the ring, ready to introduce the 2 fighters and bring them to you here. This NABF interim heavyweight title fight. Here's Jimmy.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the Belterra Casino Resort here in Belterra, Indiana, for the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by America Presents matchmaker Thomas Brown, along with Let's Get It On Promotions. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the North American Boxing Federation President and Supervisor Sam Macias, along with the Indiana Boxing Commission Chairman Bill Kelsey, Commissioner Jake Hall, Director of Boxing Frank Evans, and our 3 judges scoring the bout, Gary Merritt, Fred Jones, and Jack Woodburn. Our 3rd man to the ring, the referee in charge of this bout, Bill Page. All right, fans, here we go with the featured bout of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the NABF Heavyweight Championship. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Belterra Casino Resort, it's fight time on Fox Sports Net and the main event of the evening. Introducing to you first on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks with gold trim, fighting out of Miami, Florida by way of the Bahamas. He weighed in at 229 pounds with a record of 18 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. He has 13 big wins coming by way of knockout. Introducing Sherman Tank Williams. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the blue corner in this 12-round title bout, wearing gold trunks with red trim, fighting out of Houston, Texas by way of Gulfport, Mississippi. His weight, 238 pounds. His record, 38 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws, with 28 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former IBF Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, introducing Obed Sullivan. Once again, a referee in charge, Bill Page, now to give instructions.
Listen to me. You got your instructions in the dressing room. When I say break, both of you quit punching and take 1 step back, all right? Mills.
All right, gentlemen, you've already had your instructions. Let's get it on.
Now it's official. Yeah, that was a welcome reminder of the great years of Mills Lane's magnificent refereeing career. Now promoting, and his promotional firm, Let's Get It On Productions, along with Tony Holden, co-promoting tonight's show, along, of course, with America Presents. And immediately, Obed Sullivan in the gold trunks comes out fast and comes out jabbing, Sean.
Yeah, he says in the ring he is a boxer who can punch. His best punch, he says, the left hook. He is naturally right-handed, but he starts off extremely fast and with that vital left jab. Rated number 4 in the IBF in 1997. Now he's dropped back from that. Number 11 in the WBO, 17 WBC. Still trying to prove that he is a contender to contend with.
Sherman Williams trying to stay right on top of Obed Sullivan and really to smother him here if he can.
And that's the way his style is. He says he gained the name Tank because he always moved forward. No matter what happened, he was moving forward. He says I'm an inside fighter, a lot of body work from him. He says his best punch is the left hook. He tries to pattern his style after the great Joe Frazier.
Well, if you're a little undersized as a heavyweight, you've got the body type, that's probably a good guy to pattern your style.
And he was the best. Joe Frazier loved to stay close. In fact, that's the fight plan tonight. Apply pressure, stay close to Obed because of his 80-inch reach, and work the body. And Sherman Tank Williams doing that this first round. Obed's got to get that jab working. Obed said tonight's fight, his fight plan was to use a good jab and to have fun out there. He has been getting into this brawl with fighters. He wants to have fun. He knew about Sherman Williams. He says he's tough. He's got a good overhand right, and there it is right there. And he always comes in good shape.
Sherman Williams really pressing the action. Now Sullivan, a nice little twist in the corner and a spin, but Williams got him right back up against the ropes.
That's nice work from both fighters. William keeping him in there. Obed Sullivan doing the right thing. You spin out of that corner. Obed Sullivan, this is his 8th year in boxing. He started in 1988 as an amateur with Ronald Bailey in Fort Lejeune, Louisiana. Fort Lejeune, wait a second, that's not Louisiana, that's South Carolina, isn't it? They said his first fight was with Joe Pemberton, the number 2 heavyweight in amateur boxing. He lost in the 3rd. He went 10-8 as 7 KOs as an amateur.
Nice right hand by Williams against Sullivan, who's up against the ropes. Sullivan trying to utilize his more extensive experience here on the inside and have that play to his advantage.
Yeah, some uppercuts would sure come in handy on that inside.
He got hit with one himself, though. Williams doing a good job of sticking right to Sullivan.
This is the way he has to fight. Sherman has to fight on the inside against somebody like Obed. Sullivan too skillful on the outside.
We come to the end of a very good action-packed first round. A lot going on in round number 1 here between these two. Pat Burns is up and very happy as he greets Sherman Williams back in the corner. Burns, the trainer, and very fine one of Sherman Williams. Well, let's find out what you think about these two guys. Sean, on your scouting report.
Busy first round. Here's a look at the scouting report. 18-5-1, 13 KOs. Sherman Williams physically strong and tough. He has not fought in 6 months. He may be a little stale, and he's inexperienced against world-class opponents. That could cause him a little bit of problem tonight, going up against Obed Sullivan. And Obed is skilled against some world-class opponents. He has good knockout power. He's a good body puncher, and he has been in there with world-class opponents. He knows what to expect, listening to his trainer and teacher, Chuck McGregor. Gonna walk around your opponent. He didn't want him to butt heads with Sherman Williams. Wants him to turn him.
All right, as we get ready for round 2, we're very happy to also introduce here to our ringside table, give his little comments on the broadcast, the legendary referee and now promoter, co-promoter here tonight, Mills Lane. Mills, how you doing?
Oh, Rich, I'm doing great. You and Charlie. You know, this is going to be a heck of a fight. Williams is really staying on him. He's smothering his punches, going downstairs a lot. I mean, this could be a heck of a fight.
Could this be an upset?
If it keeps going like it is, it could be.
You bet. Most people picking Obed Sullivan in this fight, but I tell you, Sherman Tank Williams has, he really has it on the ball. He wants to win this. He knows the significance of this NABF championship fight. He told me today, I'm going to win this thing.
You're right, Sean. It is very important to him, and he's fighting the fight that Patrick Burns said. Get inside, don't let him punch, get close, punch downstairs all the time. The head will come later.
Patrick Burns in the corner of Sherman Williams, the veteran trainer, telling his man, stay inside, work the body. Sherman got into boxing. He started at 18 in Freeport, and went 47-10 in the amateur ranks.
Mills, as you take a look here, and you guys have done a great job. Let's get it on promotions and America Presents, and coming here to Belterra, where you've got a sellout crowd and the great arena here. This is nice.
You know, this thing reminds me of a swanky Blue Horizon. Man. It's right. Everything's right on top. It's great. People are being real great. This is a good show. A good place for
Hey, Mills, how do you like promoting?
Well, I tell you, Rich, it's different than refereeing. Refereeing was a lot easier. But, you know, you do what you got to do.
You got to be cognizant of many things as a promoter.
Yeah.
You know, good crowd here, too. They're knowledgeable about boxing, and they're enjoying Sherman Williams.
Yep, Tank Williams right on top of Sullivan. He knocked him back into that corner with a strong right hand and trying to follow up now. Mills Lane with us here at ringside. I'm Rich Morata along with Sean O'Grady. And Mills, you also promoted the Prince Nassim Hamed, Marco Antonio Barrera fight, a mega fight very early in your promoting career. What was that like for you?
We did, Rich. It was really different. The Hamed people great to work with. Antonio Barrera, you cannot not like him. He's a real nice young man. And that was a great fight. Our guy got beat, but I mean, that's the way life is. When the bell rings, you go out there and get it on. If you get whipped, you get whipped.
You miss refereeing, Mills?
I don't let myself miss it. If I did, it would destroy me.
No time to miss it.
Yeah, you can't try it.
Very busy. What a career you've had, too.
You know, Sean, I've been very lucky at this, but I'll tell you this, and I believe it to the core of my gut. No matter where you get, always remember a lot of folks help you get there.
Got to be nice to the people on the way up.
Because you see him coming down. I love you. And you got it.
Hey, Mills, we want to thank you very much for joining us here for this second round. It's great to see you. Great to see you enjoying your new life as a promoter as much as you are. We enjoy talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that's Judge Mills Lane as we come here to the end of round 2. A very interesting and action-packed bout between Sherman Williams and Obed Sullivan.
Honda Cruisers never.
At the Belterra Casino Resort, Rich Morata along with Sean O'Grady, Obed Sullivan in the gold trunks, Sherman Tank Williams in the black trunks, and Sherman Tank Williams, a refugee of the Thunderbox series, has come out here ready to make a name for himself, but now Sullivan trying to take command here, and a good right uppercut by Sullivan drives Tank Williams back. But look at Williams answer back.
Well, what a barn burner this has become. Sullivan has great strength, but Williams fighting him back. You know, Sherman got on top of him like this the first 2 rounds, and right now Tank has to keep that up. He's got to continue that. That was his fight plan.
May depend on how much he's got in his tank, Sean.
But, you know, in boxing, when somebody tanks it, they kind of go in the tank. I was confused that he was Sherman Tank Williams. So he's first. No, you don't want to be a tank. You don't want to give him a tank job. But he said it's because I'm always more focused. I move in, and I land my bombs. Good uppercuts downstairs to the body goes Williams.
You know, Obed Sullivan suffered a devastating defeat at the hands of David Tua. He was knocked out in the first round. But since then, you know, he has not lost a fight. He came back from that. He was knocked out in about a minute by Tua. And he's fought 4 times. He's won 3 of them. And the draw was against Larry Donald, who really is, and has been the last few years, a contender and a very fine fighter in boxing. And in that fight, you know, he had the lead in that fight going into the very late going. And only because of a great 12th round by Donald did he end up getting a draw in that fight. I think that draw is very much to his credit against Larry Donald. So he hasn't given up on himself.
He says that fight with David Tua really helped him as a fighter, because it helped him to know that he needs to warm up before the fights. He said, in that fight, I was frozen like a deer in the headlights. In tonight's fight, he showed up, beer sweat all over his body. He was ready to go from the first round of this fight. And it's a good thing he was, because Williams got on top of him in that opening round.
Yeah.
And the second round, now Sullivan opening it up a bit, showing his strength, able to maneuver around the tank and push him back.
And let's not forget, if you bring up the David Tua fights, let's not forget a man by the name of John Ruiz, who has rebounded pretty well from a 19-second loss to David Tua. Here's Tua on the sidelines right now, having beaten both the heavyweight champions, Hasim Rahman and John Ruiz.
That's what's great about the heavyweight division. Any fighter can land that big shot at any moment, including in this fight. Good uppercut from Obed. Again, Tank Williams comes back.
Yeah, he landed a strong right there. But Sullivan has had a better fight and a better round here in round 3. Gotten himself a little bit of punching room in this round, more than he had in the first 2 rounds.
Obed having to fight. Wow. Good round.
End of round 3, a red-hot round. Obed Sullivan has been in with the guy who's the current heavyweight champion, Hasim Rahman. Feels he could even do better against him in the future.
When I heard Hasim Rahman had knocked out Lennox Lewis in the 5th round, well, first of all, I thought it was a joke. Not that it can't happen, and I don't, no disrespect to Hasim Rahman, no disrespect, because I tip my hat to the guy. He did what a few guys have done, with, you know, when they've gotten to Lennox Lewis, you know, challenging him, got their little $3 million, whatever, how much money they were going to get paid for the fight, they packed it in and went home. Tua, Grant, all those guys, you know, Galata, they didn't even show up. Rahman showed up and took advantage. So I got to tip my hat to the guy, but am I Hasim Rahman's greatest fan? Nope. Do I think I can beat Hasim Rahman? Yep. Should I have beaten Hasim Rahman when we fought? Yep.
I saw that fight when he faced Hasim Rahman, and he went in that fight like it was a sparring session. He says it was my fault. I only threw 23 punches per round. I never got off in that fight. He says, I have no excuses, though. I learned a great deal from it. But you know what? He has some terrific ability, but he's never been able to break into the really big time, Obed Sullivan hasn't. When he saw Hasim in there, he says, hey, maybe I've got something here. And he does. Good skills from him. He has a good jab, and he's a big heavyweight. 238 pounds and 6'3".
This is round 4 now, and remember, it's scheduled for 12. NABF interim heavyweight championship on the line in this fight. We talk about Obed Sullivan early in his career. I saw a fight of his when he fought Buster Mathis Jr. And Mathis was still going pretty good at the time, Sean. And Obed Sullivan really just dominated. We saw that Sherman Williams right hand and another right hand by Sherman Williams. Obed Sullivan just dominated him for 3 rounds. And there was a clash of heads. The fight ended, and they couldn't go to the scorecards. And Obed was way ahead, a mile ahead on points, but did not take home a victory. Ended up with a technical draw as a result. Deprived of what would have been a very important victory early in his career.
Well, really an interesting matchup. He said that Mathis was very deceptive in the ring. He says hard to hit. I jumped right on him from the 4 rounds, but he said he got butted several times. But Buster Mathis was that way as a fighter.
But you know, when I saw him in that fight, I thought Obed Sullivan was really headed for big, big things.
Yeah, it propelled him to another level, of course. Oh, big left hook from Williams. Williams landing his shots and sticking to his fight plan.
Now, in this round, Sullivan, again, not getting any punching room. He did get some punching room in the last round, and he took advantage of it. I thought he won that last round. But again, Williams right on top of him. Those shorter arms still managing to stick close to Sullivan's torso.
Obed said, I got to get my Irish up. He said the name Sullivan goes back a long way in boxing.
Back to the turn of the century before that. The great John L.
Did you work his fights?
Yes, I did, in fact.
Wow. Obed Sullivan idolizes Marvin Hagler, the great middleweight, great boxer. He says consummate pro, always rose to the occasion, and that's what Obed is trying to do here. Big right hand from Williams. Obed answers back.
Sherman Williams really comes into this fight fit, and he thinks that's going to help his stamina. He has changed his diet. He's eliminated carbs, upped his protein. He runs 4 to 5 miles every other day. So he comes into this fight in good shape, and he has to be in good shape to apply this kind of pressure and to go at this kind of pace. Can this continue like this? We will find out when round 5 comes along in a minute.
Chip.
The question is, can Sherman Williams continue to apply this kind of pressure? This is round 5. It's scheduled for 12. Obed Sullivan in the gold trunks, Sherman Williams in the black trunks. There have been no knockdowns, but Williams came out fast in the first round and got off to a good quick start by utilizing pressure. And it's been basically a slugfest, a good action heavyweight fight. And this proves that a fight that is fought on the inside can also be exciting.
Well, you know, Sherman Williams has never had a defining fight. Obed Sullivan has had several of them. Sherman Williams has never been able to step up in this fight. He wants to step up, and he is.
Patrick Burns waving Sherman Williams in and screaming at him, get on him. Patrick Burns is trainer, corner man here tonight. He wants Sherman Williams right on top of Obed Sullivan.
Williams says he's in great shape. He's in tremendous shape for his career. He said, I came in at 229 pounds. That's the lightest he's ever been as a professional fighter.
I think Obed Sullivan is willing to fight on the inside, but I think he'd be better off if he can get himself some punching room, push the guy away. And
absolutely. You know, you use your attributes. He's got an 80-inch reach, Obed Sullivan. Utilize that. Williams 75.5 in his reach. Reach, of course, fingertip to fingertip.
Your head, Sherman. Come on. Punch and get out. You got a free hand.
Punch or get out, says the referee, Bill Page.
Sherman Williams believes that Obed Sullivan will tire by the 6th round in this fight from all of the pressure that he puts on him.
And if you don't believe it, ask Sherman Williams.
Now Sullivan, good jabbing there, coming downstairs with the right hand.
He doesn't want to paint himself into a corner. Sherman Williams putting him over there.
Williams trying to come over the top now with right hands, back Sullivan into the ropes.
And Sullivan fights back, and Williams fights back.
Yeah,
this is a barn burner.
Very good heavyweight fight. These two guys nose to nose most of the fight. Final seconds of round 5. Hard to pick between the two of them. Up along the ropes. Sullivan up against the ropes. Williams putting it to him. But watch Sullivan. He manages to extricate himself from that corner and puts it right back on Williams. Gets a little bit of punching room and lands some good shots at long range. Now in the opening seconds of round 6, Williams tries to corner Sullivan, but Sullivan works his way out of there. Obed Sullivan in the gold trunks, red stripe, and then the black trunks, it's Sherman Williams. Sherman Williams 18-5-1. Very tough guy. He hasn't fought in 6 months, but he's been working hard and he's shown very good physical conditioning coming into this fight. Now as Sullivan begins to belabor him, Sean O'Grady is over in the corner of Sherman Williams. Let's go to Sean now. Sean?
I'm over here with Pat Burns. Pat, what do you see?
I think that if he just keeps the pressure on, even though I think we've lost a couple rounds here, if he just keeps the pressure on him and he doesn't quit, he just keeps on going, we're going to get him a little bit later in this fight.
You're really trying to motivate him. A lot of instructions over here. Are you trying to keep him focused or what?
Sean, I just want him to stay in this guy's chest. and work his body, and I'm trying to do more motivating than I am teaching right now, more coaching.
Yeah, you're right. Right now, he's giving ground. Is that a dangerous position for him to be in?
He cannot afford to give ground. If this kid keeps him at the end of the gloves, he's going to be in trouble. He has a hard time fighting on his heels, and we got to keep the pressure on him. Low center of gravity, and watch his back. Right now, he should be stealing punches, and he's not. See that?
Sure. For somebody like Tank Williams, the name of the game is fight like a tank.
He's got to be a Sherman tank coming after him.
That's right. All right, back over to you, Rich.
All right, thanks. I think that pretty much says just the way we've been seeing it, that Williams needs to be on top of Sullivan, smother his punches, stay in close. Sullivan needs a little bit of punching room, and Sullivan getting it right there, trying to take command. Good work to the body there by Obed Sullivan, whom I gave the last round to pull within 1 point on my scorecard. Nice clean right by Tank Williams. Sullivan trying to fight off the ropes. At Belterra Casino Resort, Florence, Indiana. Rich Marotta and Sean O'Grady ringside, and look at Williams come forward. Relentless. Half a minute to go now in round 6. Been an action fight all the way, but still no one down. Slight nick over the right eye of Obed Sullivan, the only material damage done to either guy. Williams keeping the pressure on. Sullivan has at times landed clean punches, which makes it sometimes hard to score. His punches might be the more crisp and concise punches, but Williams coming forward relentlessly. End of the round.
In the battle.
Sunday night fights, top contenders, championship bouts, female fights, such as we had earlier tonight with Jessica Rakosi and Frida Foreman continuing their undefeated streaks, and important significant fights such as we're watching right now with Obed Sullivan and Sherman Tank Williams. There's been a good one so far. We are in round 7. Obed Sullivan with his back to you in the gold trunk, Sherman Williams in the black. They have been putting their heads on each other's shoulders since the beginning, and there you see Sherman Williams managed to knock Sullivan back with a good left hook. Now we'll wonder if Tank Williams' prediction of Sullivan wearing down after the 6th round will come true. Over in the corner of Obed Sullivan is Sean O'Grady. Sean?
Thanks, Rich. I'm here with Steve Ministeri. How is Obed doing?
Well, Obed's traditionally a slow starter, and he usually finishes strong down the stretch. So we wish he wouldn't stay on the ropes, but I think he's slowly breaking Tank down, and I think this is going to be a war of attrition over the next few rounds.
As the manager, I know you're listening to Chuck McGregor's instructions for him. What is it Chuck trying to get him to do at this point?
Shorten up his punches, stop smothering them, and above all, stay off the ropes and get the fight back to the middle of the ring, and to keep working the body because he didn't like those body shots.
Now, you know what you're trying to do with a fight like this. Did you expect such a difficult fight?
I think anytime you have a young and up-and-coming guy and he's fighting a name and it's for a belt, you got to expect that they're going to fight the fight of their life, and that's why we have a very exciting fight. But
Steve, I know you're the manager. Who is winning this fight?
I mean, I really think it's about 3 rounds to 3 rounds, but it's so close, some of them are hard to judge.
Down the stretch, what do you do to get Obed going?
Well, he's a very strong finisher, so once he gets into his groove and he breaks the guy down with his body, then you go for the late knockout. He has several late knockouts in the 10th, 11th rounds. That's
it from the manager of Obed Sullivan, Steve Ministeri. Back to you.
All right, interesting scoring, because that's pretty much the way I see the fight so far. You see Sherman Williams continuing, though, to come forward, trying to make his presence felt with a smothering attack on Obed Sullivan, who was a Marine for 8 years, so he has that in common with Mills Lane. He learned to box in the Marines. Reportedly, though, only had 18 amateur fights. So Sullivan has kind of been learning on-the-job training as a professional. And Obed, 33 years of age, he cannot afford a misstep in terms of a defeat in a fight like this with a guy who has had so few fights as Sherman Tank Williams. Coming to the end of the round now, and again they open up. As the bell nears, the fans warm to the action again.
Does anyone here at the
12 NABF interim heavyweight title on the line. Sherman Tank Williams in the black trunks, Obed Sullivan in the gold. Between rounds, Pat Burns, the corner man for Sherman Williams, was complaining to referee Bill Page that Sullivan is pulling Williams' head down with one arm and punching him with the other. That's an old Lennox Lewis trick that worked so successfully for Lewis, especially in his fight with Michael Grant. Sullivan jabbing here, trying to keep the fight at a little bit longer range.
Yeah, look at the distance. Now changing the strategy in the corner a bit, trying to give ground a bit. Also, 90% of the power of the punch is right on the end, that final snap. They're trying to show that to Sherman Tank Williams. Smothering his own shots, Obed Sullivan. But you know what? He's trying to prove a lot of things tonight.
Such as?
Trying to prove that he still belongs in the heavyweight division. Trying to prove that at 33 years old, his career is not fading. Trying to prove that he still is someone to contend with.
Sean, how physically enervating, how grueling is it to be in a nose-to-nose inside slugfest like this?
It's very difficult. It's a hard way to fight. You fight on the inside like that, you're constantly getting hit by your opponent's elbows, the top of his head, his shoulders, and you're constantly hitting his elbows, the top of his head, and his shoulders. It's a very difficult way to fight. So it makes a hard fight. Obed could be making this an easy fight by sitting on the outside, boxing, maneuvering around his opponent. But this is a more enjoyable way to fight. It's fun to fight this way. Get the crowd into it. There's a couple of shots, and Obed having a lot of fun with that one.
Just seems like this is the kind of fight that would really sap your strength, though.
Oh, yeah.
And inside fighting.
You know what? And tomorrow, it'll be bad, but the next day, oh, you don't feel like getting out of bed. You've got bumps and bruises, nicks and knocks all up and down your body. You are very sore. Tonight, both of these men will sleep well. Oh, big, heavy shots. Williams, too.
And a little defensive work from Sullivan to get away from those last two punches.
Obed's mouth open, maybe showing a few signs of fatigue.
This round may still be up for the asking.
You know, what would work well right now for Obed Sullivan is a nice uppercut. You set it up with a jab, bring a nice uppercut on the inside. On the inside like that, no holding behind the head. Says the corner of Sherman Williams, he's pulling him back of my head.
There's the strength of Sullivan just pushing Sherman away, and I think he should have done that a little bit more often here tonight. Push his man off.
And then hit him.
Williams incessant, though. End of the round.
It's here.
Take Williams. They want him to put Sullivan's back to the rope and then hit him. Some of the pulling in the back of the head from Obed.
Sullivan seemed to get a little rocked by that last flurry of shots in that last round by Sherman Williams as we start round 9.
You know, when he went back to his corner, Rich, he wobbled, he kind of staggered to get back over there. They were late putting the stool in the ring, but he was visibly a bit shaken from that onslaught of punches from Williams. Well, Williams is really, this is trying. You know, this is the danger of fighting someone like an Obed Sullivan. Sullivan's been in there with a lot of big fights. He's been in there with some big names, including Hasim Rahman, the world champion. Tank Williams is fighting above his ability. He's trying to make a statement tonight. He's trying to prove himself. Obed Sullivan may be fighting a little bit a level below himself, just because he may be looking ahead at bigger fights. He may be thinking about fighting Rahman in a rematch. Maybe fighting.
Each man has landed a low blow here in this round. Sullivan's, I thought, was in answer to the one that he had received about 20 seconds before from Sherman Williams. Sherman looks confident in this round, and he's been boxing, posing a little bit, but that's not how he got it done in this fight. He's more at long range here. This is a little bit of a danger for him as it comes from long range, though, with the right, and maybe proves me wrong with that.
I'll tell you, Pat Burns has done a fantastic job over there in the corner motivating his man. He said, look, you have to get him now. Now he's tired. Go after him. This was our fight plan. Get on him. Stay in his face. Form boxing. Put your head on his chest and let him have it to the body. And Sherman has done a terrific job downstairs tonight.
Pat Burns yelled to him as the round was about to start, "You are in shape, man." So just encouraging him, motivating him, as he told you, Sean, in the corner. He's trying to be more motivator than coach here.
Pat Burns also told me you were in shape.
Well, he lied.
Bad shape. Sherman Williams really surprising, raising a lot of eyebrows tonight.
Not quite as relentless in this round, though. Has fought more at long range in this round. And I don't think necessarily is the way he wants to go.
I look like he's doing pretty well at long range, too. Trying to
got
get
in
in,
and
score,
out.
and then he got out. Nice work from him. Obed may be a bit bemused by these tactics and maybe be a bit winded for good reason. This has been a very fast heavyweight fight.
So we come now to the end of the round, and this one's tight. After what has been a very interesting heavyweight bout since round number 1. Obed Sullivan in the gold trunks, a veteran, been around for a long time, been right on the periphery of being one of the top contenders. He's never been able to break through to that top contendership, but has beaten a lot of guys along the way. And as we mentioned, 3 fights back, had a draw with Larry Donald, who is a contender to be sure. So Sullivan, a good fighter, against Sherman Tank Williams, who's trying to make his own statement that he belongs in the mix amongst the heavyweights. With the heavyweight landscape changing the way it is day to day, you can make a statement. It can mean a lot of money to you in the future.
And this fight is wire tight, man. What a fast-paced heavyweight fight, too. Both of them fighting for the NABF championship, a top 5 ranking, and hopefully for them a championship of the world opportunity.
And this NABF, well, a lot of people may not think much of getting that title belt. It's not a world title belt. Pat Burns was saying, you know, the NABF is the most respected federation of these lesser titles. And in the past, holders of their belt went on to become world champions. So if Sherman wins the belt, existing world champion.
And see if the fighter's, you know, doing okay. Ask him some questions if you want.
Sherman Williams in the black trunks. Obed Sullivan in the gold. Who looks better of the two to you right now, Sean?
I don't know. I'm extremely impressed with Williams. Having seen him in the past without this kind of passion, he's fighting tonight like he really wants to be the NABF champion. Obed Sullivan, he's fought early in this fight. He fought like he had the passion. All of a sudden, the last couple of rounds, he's kind of let down some, and that's been the story with him. Sometimes when the going gets tough, he seems to take another direction, to hold on, or to try to break out of there. Try to last, just try to survive, which is what he did against Rockman. Had he fought Rockman the way that he knows how to fight, that I've seen Obed Sullivan fight, it may have been a different story.
A lot of those punches of Williams are beginning to stray low. You see that left hook again right there. And that, I think, probably due a little to fatigue. Sometimes,
you know, when you're fighting on the inside like this, you're tired from punching. You're also tired from getting hit. Also wrestling inside. 238 pounds that Obed Sullivan weighs. That's a lot of man to move. Sullivan, a little bit of a rally here in the 10th.
These are hard rounds to judge. I'm trying my best, but you never know. It could be way off when it comes to the way this one's going. Good action fight from 1 round to 10, and we've still got 2 to go. So stay with us. The championship rounds are next. Now into round number 11, scheduled for 12. Obed Sullivan in the gold trunks, Sherman Tank Williams in black. Rich Murata, Sean O'Grady, ringside for you on Fox Sports Net. This has been a rollicking good fight between these two. I think it's a close fight. If it goes the distance, we'll find out what the judges have to think. But I'll tell you this, both guys were getting major league pep talks in their corners between rounds.
And both fighters really trying in this match. It's a terrific heavyweight battle, a back and forth brawl. Williams said he was in tremendous shape, and he's right to be able to keep up that assault. I think he took the 10th round off, so perhaps he will go pretty strong here in the 11th. You know, these rounds are so close that you may need every one of the rounds. But a lot of fighters too, especially the round before the last round, as they may take off. They may take some deep breaths, try to shake out. Watch your head. Bill Page, watch your head in there. You know, there's been a little cut. I don't know if it's an abrasion or if it's a cut trying to open over the right eye of Obed Sullivan. That's been going on since the 7th round. They've been putting cut medicine on it, but it hasn't appeared to be a cut.
It's a good clean right that Tank Williams got in. Now banging to the body, and he gets a nice uppercut, and Sullivan has to give ground a little bit. Now it's Sullivan's turn to answer back.
Oh, big uppercut. Obed Sullivan scoring. He needs this round.
This is such a tough fight.
So draining.
Williams thought he saw the opening. Boy, he gritted his teeth and came forward, trying to keep Sullivan in that corner.
The complexion of the fight certainly has changed here in this 11th. It was Williams who said, I'm going to really put the pressure on after the 6th. He kept the pressure on early. And he's fighting back here. He is tough. Tank Williams.
You think
he is
one
not
guy or
tanking
the other,
it.
no, you think one guy or the other is about to go under, and it just doesn't happen. They suck it up and come right back.
Well, this is what boxing should be.
Well, yeah, this is what you like to see, a full effort from two fighters.
Two fighters in shape, prepared to do battle, and that's what they are. Both of them very confident about this fight tonight.
And both banging away now as the 11th round comes to an end. 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left in a very good fight. Chuck McGregor meets Obed Sullivan in the corner. Sure, there'll be some drama in each man's corner.
Pep talk.
It's Dan's night. You hear me? Come here. Hands up. Keep your composure. Don't give him a free shot. But look at me.
Wow. You know what? Here's some, getting back to this whole fight. From the 3rd round on, it has been Sherman, Tank Williams trying to keep Obed back to the ropes and keep applying that pressure early in this 5th round. Obed came back just a bit, and he tried to take control. In the 8th round, Sherman Tank Williams had to fight back to try to get that control, but it has been back and forth. This has been a seesaw battle since the beginning. Sherman Tank Williams get instructions from Pat Burns. You want to be champion, he said. This is it. This is what it's about. This is championship boxing, and both of these heavyweights know it.
The right eye beginning to bother Obed Sullivan just a little as we begin round 12. Fight could be hanging in the balance. I think it's a close fight. It's been a heck of a good fight. Sullivan from long range trying to jump on top and gain control here early in the round.
You know what? Every one of these rounds are so difficult to judge. I mean, they've been every one of them has been very close. You know, do you give one man more for one round or the other? There's your scorecard. 105, 104. That's how close this fight has been.
Bill Page has his work cut out. He's earning a good salary in there tonight. Two real heavyweights. He breaks them again. Sullivan trying to meet Williams coming in with those combinations so that Sherman can't get right on top of him. Good right hand by Sullivan. Right on his best punch of the fight.
Big right hand. Still looking for the KO. Obed Sullivan.
Nice right uppercut by Sullivan.
And Williams seems to have stopped punching all of a sudden. He was hurt by that right. Well, there he is. That woke him up.
Here he comes back. This is the kind of fight that we have had. Most enjoyable heavyweight fight here tonight.
It has been a back and forth battle. The early rounds, Williams came out to take control. Sullivan battled back. In those middle rounds, it was Williams controlled one round, Sullivan controlled the next round. And then here we are in the 12th and final round, and they are still battling.
Obed Sullivan's, you can see his lip quivering a little bit from the fatigue there. These two guys have both been hurt and tired, and they are fatigued right now, but neither man will stop fighting. A true pitched battle for 12 rounds between Obed Sullivan and Sherman Williams.
Yeah, that's what championship boxing's all about. Even at the end, you still try to pick up that belt. Obed Sullivan has the higher reputation of the two, but Williams certainly proving that he is someone in this heavyweight division to look at.
Good right hand from long distance by Sullivan.
Big right hand, and an important right hand because it's in the final 30 seconds. This is where you want to really let it all hang out, let everything go. Punch your opponent, try to prove to the judges that you want to win this fight. You know, there's a lot of positioning involved in this too. But look at Williams. Did he win this? Wow.
Look at this finish. Excellent fight. Crowd roaring. Bell sounds. Who won it? In Sherman Williams' corner, Sherman and Pat Burns think that he has won it. We're going to find out from the judges when we return. Stay with us. A most interesting decision is about to come your way.
At Heritage Cadillac of Lombard, the Midwest's largest Cadillac dealer, we'll always find a way to earn your business. And now, during May Days, you can move up to a new Cadillac for less than you ever imagined. Come in today and save. Just
one now from ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr. Now Jimmy has come back to the ringside to check on the scoring. He's taking a look at it. Make sure that he gets it right. Let's go to Jimmy now for the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a split decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Fred Jones scores the bout 115 to 113 in favor of Obed Sullivan. Judge Jack Woodburn scores the bout 116 to 112 in favor of Sherman Williams. Judge Gary Merritt scores the bout 115 to 113 in favor of the winner of the NABF Heavyweight Championship, Obed Sullivan.
Obed Sullivan wins the decision here. Let's go to Sean O'Grady in the ring. Sean.
Obed Sullivan, a lot of celebration up here. Obed Sullivan, congratulations. Did you expect such a tough fight?
Yeah, no. Takes out. Mouthpiece. No, you know, I did not. I thought that the guy would have got penalized for that junk. He came in with his head all night.
That was Obed Sullivan, congratulations. That was a very difficult fight. How about that? The new NABF champion, Rich Barada.
All right, remember to join us each Sunday night at 6 p.m. for the Sunday night fights. Check your local listings. Coming up next, Beyond the Glory with the premiere episode on World Light Heavyweight Champion Roy Jones Jr. And then at 9 p.m., it's NASCAR Victory Lane. Now, this is Rich Marotta for Sean O'Grady saying so long.